Have you ever felt like an outsider, desperately trying to fit in but always falling short? What if I told you that one book could transform your social life and revolutionize the way you connect with others? Welcome to this video, where we'll explore a groundbreaking book that has the power to reshape your social landscape. Today, we're delving into Quiet, The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. Now, you might be thinking, another self-help book? How is this different? Well, buckle up, because we're about to challenge everything you thought you knew about social dynamics and success. Cain's work isn't just another run-of-the-mill guide on how to be more outgoing. Instead, it's a paradigm-shifting exploration of introversion in a society that often equates success with extroversion. This book doesn't just offer surface-level tips. It delves deep into the neurological and cultural factors that shape our social preferences and behaviors. Let's start with a mind-bending concept, the extrovert ideal. Cain argues that our culture has been dominated by what she calls the extrovert ideal, the omnipresent belief that the ideal self is gregarious, alpha, and comfortable in the spotlight. But here's the kicker: this ideal is a relatively new construct, shaped by the shift from a culture of character to a culture of personality in the early 20th century. This shift coincided with the rise of industrialization and urbanization, where suddenly, the ability to sell oneself became paramount. The quiet, thoughtful individual was pushed aside in favor of the charismatic salesman. But here's what most people miss: this cultural shift doesn't align with our biological diversity. Cain introduces us to the concept of core personal projects. These are the activities or goals that shape our lives and bring us the most meaning. For introverts, these projects often involve deep, focused work or intimate connections. The problem? Our extrovert-centric world often pushes us away from these core projects, leading to a sense of disconnection and unfulfillment. But here's where it gets really interesting. Cain's research shows that introverts often outperform extroverts in leadership positions, especially when leading proactive employees. Why? Because introverted leaders are more likely to listen to and implement the ideas of their team members. This flies in the face of conventional wisdom about charismatic, extroverted leaders being the ideal. Now, let's talk about the concept of restorative niches. These are the spaces and times where we can return to our true selves and recharge. For introverts, these niches are crucial for maintaining energy and authenticity in social situations. But here's the twist: many introverts feel guilty about needing these spaces, seeing them as a weakness rather than a strength. Cain argues that embracing these restorative niches is key to social success for introverts. By allowing ourselves time to recharge, we can show up more fully in social situations, rather than feeling drained and inauthentic. But it's not just about accepting our introversion. Cain introduces the concept of free trait theory, developed by psychologist Brian Little. This theory suggests that we can act out of character for core personal projects. In other words, introverts can choose to be more extroverted when it aligns with their deepest values and goals. This is a game changer for social interactions. Instead of trying to become extroverts, introverts can strategically choose when to push themselves out of their comfort zones. This selective sociability allows for meaningful connections without the exhaustion of constant socializing. Now, let's talk about something that's rarely discussed: the power of sensitivity. Cain delves into research showing that many introverts are also highly sensitive people, HSPS. This trait, found in about 20% of the population, means a greater sensitivity to stimuli and a tendency to process information more deeply. Here's the shocker: while sensitivity is often seen as a weakness in our culture, it's actually a tremendous strength in many situations. HSPS are often more empathetic, more observant, and better at picking up subtle cues in social situations. But what about networking, that dreaded task for many introverts? Cain offers a revolutionary perspective. Instead of trying to work the room, focus on forming fewer, deeper connections. This approach aligns with introverts' strengths in one-on-one interactions and can lead to more meaningful and lasting relationships. Here's a concept that's rarely discussed: the introvert's advantage in the digital age. While extroverts might thrive in traditional networking events, introverts often excel in online interactions. The ability to think before responding, to craft thoughtful messages, and to engage in deep, text-based conversations plays to introverts' strengths. In a world where remote work and digital communication are increasingly common, these skills are becoming more valuable than ever. Now, let's address a common misconception: the idea that introverts need to overcome their introversion to be successful. Cain argues that this is not only unnecessary but potentially harmful. Instead, she introduces the concept of optimal levels of arousal. Each person has an optimal level of stimulation at which they function best. For introverts, this level is generally lower than for extroverts. By understanding and respecting these differences, introverts can create environments and routines that allow them to operate at their best, rather than constantly pushing themselves into overstimulating situations. This brings us to a crucial point: the importance of self-acceptance. Many introverts spend years trying to change who they are, leading to feelings of inadequacy and social anxiety. Cain argues that true social success comes not from changing your personality, but from embracing it and learning to work with your natural inclinations. But here's the twist: this self-acceptance doesn't mean isolation. Instead, it means choosing social interactions that align with your values and energy levels. It means seeking out like-minded individuals who appreciate deep conversations and meaningful connections. Now, let's talk about something that's often overlooked: the power of silence. In a world that values quick responses and constant chatter, the introvert's tendency to pause and reflect can be a significant asset. Cain explores how this reflective nature can lead to more thoughtful decisions, more insightful contributions, and ultimately, more authentic relationships. But what about those situations where you do need to be more outgoing? Cain introduces the concept of personal trips, short periods where introverts can act more extroverted for a specific purpose. The key is to follow these periods with adequate time for recovery and reflection. Here's a mind-bending idea: what if your introversion is actually your superpower? Cain argues that many of the qualities associated with introversion, deep thinking, careful observation, and the ability to focus intensely, are increasingly valuable in our complex, information-rich world. But to harness this superpower, you need to understand and respect your own rhythms. This means creating a lifestyle that allows for periods of intense social interaction balanced with times of solitude and reflection. Now, let's address a common concern: the fear of missing out. Many introverts push themselves into social situations out of fear of missing opportunities. But Cain argues that this approach often backfires, leading to burnout and inauthentic interactions. Instead, she suggests a more strategic approach at choosing social activities that align with your interests and values, and engaging in them fully. This selective sociability often leads to more meaningful connections and opportunities than trying to be everywhere and please everyone. But what about romantic relationships? Cain delves into research showing that introvert-introvert and introvert-extrovert pairings can both be successful, provided there's mutual understanding and respect for each other's needs. The key is open communication about your social needs and preferences. This honesty can lead to deeper, more authentic connections, whether with friends, family, or romantic partners. Now, let's talk about something that's rarely discussed: the introvert's advantage in conflict resolution. While extroverts might be quick to speak up in heated situations, introverts' tendency to pause and reflect can lead to more thoughtful and effective resolutions. But to leverage this strength, introverts need to overcome the fear of speaking up. Cain suggests techniques like preparation and visualization to help introverts assert themselves in challenging situations. Here's a revolutionary idea: what if, instead of trying to fit into extroverted social structures, we created more introvert-friendly spaces? Cain explores how changes in workplace design, educational practices, and social norms could lead to a more balanced and inclusive society. This isn't just about making life easier for introverts. By creating space for both introverted and extroverted styles, we can harness the strengths of both personality types, leading to more innovation, creativity, and harmony in our communities. As we wrap up, let's reflect on the core message of Cain's work. There's nothing wrong with you. Your introversion isn't a flaw to be fixed, but a fundamental part of who you are. By understanding and embracing this aspect of yourself, you can transform your social life in ways you never imagined. Remember, it's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. By aligning your social life with your introverted nature, you can create deeper, more meaningful connections and find success on your own terms. So, are you ready to embrace your introversion and revolutionize your social life? The journey starts with understanding and accepting who you are. From there, the possibilities are endless. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of quiet. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more insights into personal growth and success.